There's a light snow falling. It's turning wetter. Great to be here. Great to be here with you. So, good morning if you're here with me live. Hello, hello. If you're joining later, I'm aLex Levin. So glad to be here together. Take a load off is the title today. It's what I need to tell myself. Up until recently, now I'm only teaching this, guiding this meditation weekly. I've been teaching for a few years a class we called Meditative Yoga at Sun and Moon Yoga Studio, and that's where we're meeting today through that community. Meditative yoga. It's a slowing down. I was teaching yin also, yin yoga, and that is also a slowing down. Yin yoga poses are held for stillness. But during that stillness, things are happening. And meditative yoga is largely influenced by my dipping into the Feldenkrais movement methods. And many yoga teachers are discovering this, have discovered this in their own pathway, the slowing down and exploring. And it's just the evolution of as you do something over and over, you notice more and more. So today, we will sit for little periods, but I'm going to do a little segment of meditative yoga. And you're free, of course, if you'd prefer to just sit for the whole time, that's fine. Just where our attention is so powerful to be aware of. When we are aware of that and how we are responding to it, how we meet what comes to our attention, that relationship aspect is transformational. So let me go back to what you'll need for today. I will not join you in lying down, but we'll do periods of sitting up, and this whole session is less than 30 minutes. And then I will ask you to lie down on the floor, to be able to lie down. And in fact, I'll show you one time. You want to be able to lie down really fully, like in corpse pose in yoga. If you need your knees bent, that's fine, but just sort of, let's see if that, yeah, you want to be able to have your arms out at your sides, your head on the ground. Maybe you need a pillow under your head, legs stretched out, or knees bent and leaning against each other is good. Or if you have something to place under your knees, a rolled up blanket, something like that would be helpful. So make sure you have that. Take a load off. Some of us may be, I'll let you get ready for that. Get yourself ready to have that space, and then come back up to seated when you're ready. I've been noticing also as time goes by and as I practice, the intensity of things seems to increase. Sometimes it seems like we practice, and isn't life supposed to get easier because of this practice? And sometimes it seems like it's getting harder, more intense, asking more of us, more challenges. Do you find that? And I'm going to repeat what I have often repeated from meditation teacher Adyashanti, is that when it's sometimes natural that when we feel that, we sense that our practice isn't working, that we're actually regressing. And he says that it's very important that we don't necessarily believe that we think we are, but we're not really. It's just a new level of challenge, or we're seeing something in a new way. I recently, the other day, was listening to um, Krista Tippett's interview with Thich Nhat Hanh. She reposted it. It's from some years ago. I'm not sure exactly when, but she reposted it in her podcast. And he was saying, with respect to how we meet intense suffering. So when the load gets very heavy or challenges get more difficult, it's like it can bring on a heavier load of suffering, whether for ourselves or what we see around us. And he says that as we've cultivated compassion, that the suffering is not as painful. So those two things seem to be getting sometimes as life goes on, as we practice more, it seems things can get more challenging. And then on the other hand, do we find that those challenges are met with a more welcoming heart, a greater compassion? Yes and no. Maybe we catch ourselves, we see ourselves criticizing ourselves or others, and maybe just that more vivid intensity is what can help wake us up, knock us back to wait, what's really here? And how do I really want to respond? What is the wisest and kindest way to respond, most effective way? So today we'll be, in just a moment, we'll be doing a little movement and then lying down. Or actually, we're going to start with lying down. But before, and yeah, let's lie down now. Yeah, go ahead and lie down on your back and make sure, again, you've set it up a little bit before. Let's make sure it's very comfortable. And just see what you're noticing as you first lie down. You might notice the contrast of where parts of you touch the ground and parts of you are not touching, and how that distinction and those two contrasted sensations. You may notice how your feet touch is so different than how your pelvis touches as you're lying on your back. You may notice that you're breathing. You may notice something particular, unique compared to other body parts and compared to different point in time in your shoulders, in your jaw, and where the back of the head touches the ground. And as you keep looking, just take in these words from teacher Teresa Murphy. She's a friend of ours and comes to visit at our yoga studio. I know she's got a workshop coming up with us. I'm not exactly sure of the date. Check the website, sunamoonstudio.com. And this is on her Instagram account, teresa.murphy.108. What are we doing in yin yoga, really? The answer is, in my opinion, and how I learned this unique practice, is nothing. We're not doing anything. In fact, we are undoing. We are undoing the strains, pulls, and tensions that we endure in everyday life. On the physical level, it's not even about the muscles. What's being affected the most is the connective tissue of the body. Fascia cells are a matrix woven through muscle and wrap around everything. Not only around, but through a matrix. It's a highly specialized, sensitive, intelligent, and responsive tissue in the body. Incredibly unique. It's intimately integrated with the endocrine, hormonal system, the lymphatic, immune system, and the nervous system. Endocrine, lymphatic, and nervous systems. The texture, resiliency, tensegrity, and responsiveness of all connective tissue, bone, tendons, ligaments, fascia, is tied to many things. Fascia is affected and changed by pressure, tension, temperature, movement, and most importantly, thoughts and intentions. So make your way back up to sitting. Just sit comfortably, somewhat upright. You can be in a chair, not leaning onto the back of, well, even leaning onto the back of a chair is fine. Just however you need to find your support, but sitting up. And if you can't do this sitting up, you can do it lying down as well. Now, yin yoga, we hold things still, but this is a different way. Yet, I believe this also works with our fascia, the connective tissue. So, this movement will just raise one shoulder. I'm raising my right, it looks like my left, up to the ear and down. Doesn't even have to be full range of motion. Raise it up, easy, look for smooth, and just let it plop down. And if you're lying down, if we're sitting up, it's in one way against gravity. If you're lying down, you're working a different way against gravity. But either way, I'm going to repeat this maybe 15, 20 times, not hurriedly, just easy. What we're looking for is a smooth action, as smooth as possible. And you lift and then let it go, and just noticing the pause between these two directions of movement. Okay, and let it go. Just relax there. Make sure you're still comfortable. Something may feel different right here, and just sit easily, and we'll take a like a minute long stillness, just observing. Breathing, our attention meeting what's here in our body, in our mind, in our hearts, in our spirits. That probably wasn't even a full minute, but let's go to the next movement. Same shoulder. So let now pull the shoulder downward. So my movement is much smaller, down toward the earth or toward your hip on that side, and let it rebound back up. So same shoulder pulls down away from the ear and back up. And I'm noticing that I'm working a little hard, which is nothing wrong with that, but I'm going to work a little easier to look for that smoothness, not only in the shoulder joint, but everywhere. Everywhere. So there's a movement in one direction, and we return, and we're breathing. The breathing does not have to be corresponding, and in fact, corresponding to the movement. And in fact, you can make this movement really small and know that this movement sense that this movement is not separate from all the other parts of you. As I'm moving, I'm noticing my lower back shift a little bit, noticing that the way the base of my body is against the ground is different. Okay, after this, maybe we moved 10, 15, 16 times. Just let it go. Pause, sit easily. It doesn't, you can shift a little if you like, but just shift and notice. Come to a still point. Again, we'll be still for maybe about 30 seconds and just see what's here now. Has anything changed about the way you sense yourself? Notice how your attention is meeting what is here, that relationship. Okay, now same shoulder, very same shoulder. We'll take the movement in both directions. So going up toward the ear, coming through the starting point and down. And for me, the direction toward the ear is um, freer and farther, but that doesn't matter. Just look for what's smooth and easy and feels nice. Breathing freely. If you find yourself efforting, can you go to less effort, effortlessness? What would allow this movement to be even smoother? Noticing the movement not separate from the entirety of your body, your breathing, your surroundings. We're moving in space. We sometimes forget that negative space that we're cutting into. Okay, let it go. Let's be still a few moments. Maybe as much as a minute now. In fact, go ahead and lie down on your back. And I will actually join you. Lie down on your back. Legs comfortable, maybe bent at the knees, maybe not. Arms somehow stretched out. I'm going to bend my knees and just lie down. It can be how you were before or not. And if you've been doing this all lying down, that's fine. You can stay where you are. And what does your attention meet? What rises up to meet your attention? What's the quality of this meeting? What are you bringing to it? What energy, what mood, what curiosity, analysis, searching or relaxing, or maybe little bits of many of these things. Take a load off and just see what's here. How does this orientation feel different from the sitting one? So obvious if you did shift positions, so obviously a different, but how does it feel? How do you know it through your body, through your senses, through your emotions? Right, let's make our way back up to sitting. Coming back back up to sitting. What what comes to your attention here might be different, new, fresh. Let's take the same side shoulder. If this is really annoying to you, we'll probably do very little with the second side, if at all. You can even it out for yourself afterward. So let's pull downward first, same side shoulder, and then up toward the ear. Now, what is true? What are you finding? What are you feeling in the side ribs and the spine and the wholeness of this action? Is it easier? Is it smoother? It might be, or it might not be. Sometimes there's a whole sense of the whole gestalt of you. My body is feeling like it takes up space more easily. I have a little more breathing room in all my skin, as if my skin is relaxed from gripping into my body toward the center. Pause the movement. How is the breath maybe different? How is the awareness of back body? As if what you can sense in your back and what's behind you, like like skilled martial artists. Okay, now let's take the movement again, same side shoulder. Start slow and then go fast. Go jiggly, up and down, jiggly, as fast as you can make it. Is the jiggliness smooth? Can you get it to be smooth? I always remember seeing Michael Phelps warming up before the swimming competition and how jelly-like his shoulders were. So relaxed. That's good. What do you notice? I noticed something in my back. All right, let it go. Once again, sit still. Let's lie down again. Lie down again. What is here? For me, this is always so delicious. If you are new to this, or if there's a lot bound up in your body, sometimes the letting go does not come so easy, the taking the load off. And sometimes it is indeed even painful. Whatever you're experiencing, just right now where you are, if this feels comfortable for you, speak out loud, like give out loud labels as true as possible to what you are experiencing right now out loud. Speak it. Maybe you're by yourself in your space. And if that feels too hokey, corny, you can just say it to yourself silently, like as accurately as possible. So, as not so general, but very specific. Like an example would be clay, warm, medium temperature clay. See, I've adjusted that a few times, and that's good. As you hear yourself say it, adjust it to as accurate and specific as you can get it. Clay, room temperature clay. Room temperature clay. That's not even a word, but it was a audible out breath. My clay is alive, slightly moving. That red, deep red room temperature blob of clay. Hello, hello, room temperature blob of clay. And then just savor it for a bit. Make your way back up to sitting. Maybe the same way, maybe a little differently. And just in your mind's imagination, do the movement of the up toward the ear, same shoulder down. Is it possible to do that? As I start to do that in my imagination, something fires. A little tiny movement happens. That's good news. The thought is connected to the body. Just imagine it. And that may be challenging. The more you practice it, the easier it'll get to do that. Imagining, envisioning the movement. And now actually do it, just small, same side. I'm making a smaller movement than I did before. And then stop that. That was just a few motions, but imagine doing it on the other side. Only in the imagination. If it doesn't seem to manifest in this inner virtual reality, try not to despair or notice how you do meet that effort, that result or not result. Breathing. And now actually do it on the other side. You're naturally noticing and contrasting how it was to the first side. What's happening in you, around you. The focus is usually pretty good with movement as opposed to stillness. Like, notice that your mind is probably not wandering, but maybe it is. Go faster, quick, as fast as you can go. And then slower. Really small movement, very slow, hardly perceptible to the outer observer. And come to stillness. What do you see, feel, notice, meet with your attention and your breathing and your belly and the way the body meets the ground? Hmm. So our time is up together. If you would like to continue or just lie down for a few seconds or a few breaths or longer, or do more with side two. Maybe I'll reframe this to call it meditative. It was meditative yoga. We called it meditative movement for a little while. Maybe I'll call it meditative yoga again and offer that here. We'll see. Chime in and see. Let me know what you think here. Contact me through Being Yogal on Instagram or here in the chat. Let me know what you thought of this session, or leave a note below if you're watching later. A very different format, and still how we meet, how our attention meets and awareness, and meeting the awareness that is always here. Thank you for joining me. May you recognize that the calmness, the peace, the awareness that many of us seek, that home place, is always here, even when we think it's not. Um, Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you all who are joined us, and see you here next week. sunandmoonstudio.com. Ciao, ciao.